Almost everyone has seen those little "We Buy Houses" signs on telephone poles, but almost everyone misunderstands what they're actually for. Have you ever been sitting at a red light and noticed one of those signs stapled on a telephone pole? "We buy houses." Maybe it says "cash for houses." Maybe it looks like it was printed in someone's garage 15 minutes before they put it out. And if you're like most people, you've probably had one of two reactions. Either that has to be a scam, or who actually calls those things? But after almost 2 decades in real estate, I can tell you that most people are asking the wrong question. The real question is why homeowners call them. Because once you understand that, you'll understand why some people walk away incredibly happy with the outcome and why others end up regretting the decision. And there's one mistake homeowners make when evaluating these offers that can cost them tens of thousands of dollars. But we'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's talk about what is actually happening behind the scenes. Most people assume these signs are targeting every homeowner. They're not. In fact, the vast majority of homeowners will never call one. Think about it. If your house is in great condition, you're not in a hurry, you enjoy the traditional selling process, and your only goal is maximizing price, there may be no reason to call at all. But that's not who these signs are trying to reach. They're usually reaching homeowners dealing with something much bigger than a real estate transaction. Maybe they're behind on payments. Maybe they inherited a house they never wanted. Maybe the property needs major repairs. Maybe they're going through a divorce. Maybe they're relocating unexpectedly. Maybe they're tired landlords dealing with difficult tenants. Or maybe they're simply overwhelmed. And the last one is more common than most people realize. Because after helping hundreds of homeowners, I've noticed something interesting. People rarely call these signs because they're excited to sell. They call because they're trying to solve a problem. And that distinction changes everything. Now, before we go any further, let's clear up one of the biggest misconceptions. Not all "We Buy Houses" companies are the same. In fact, there are generally 3 different types of people behind those signs. And understanding the difference can completely change your experience. The first type is a wholesaler. Now, before anyone heads to the comments section, this isn't criticism. It's simply how the model works. A wholesaler finds a homeowner willing to sell. They put the property under contract. They assign that contract to another investor for a profit. For example, a homeowner agrees to sell for 200 grand. The wholesaler finds an investor willing to pay 215 grand. The wholesaler earns the difference. That's the business model. Now, here's where many sellers get confused. A lot of homeowners assume the person sitting across the table is the final buyer. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they aren't. That's why one of the smartest questions you can ask is, are you personally buying this property or are you assigning the contract? There isn't necessarily a right or wrong answer. You simply deserve to know who you're dealing with. Quick pause. If you're getting value from this today and appreciate real estate and financial tips, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and helps other homeowners find the information they may need. Okay, back to it. The second type is the actual investor. This is someone who intends to purchase the property themselves. Maybe they're buying rentals. Maybe they're fixing and flipping houses. Maybe they're adding properties to a long-term portfolio. And here's something many homeowners don't realize. A good investor isn't necessarily looking for a cheap house. They're looking for a house with a problem they know how to solve. That problem could be repairs. It could be tenants. It could be title issues. It could be deferred maintenance. It could be a difficult timeline. They're not always buying houses. Sometimes they're buying solutions, and that's an important distinction. The third type is the larger company. These businesses often have acquisition teams, project managers, transaction coordinators, and established systems. The advantage is speed and efficiency. The potential downside is flexibility. Many larger companies rely heavily on formulas, and sometimes unique situations don't fit neatly inside those formulas. Now, here's where things start getting more interesting. Because understanding who is behind the sign isn't actually the most important thing. The most important question is, what problem are you trying to solve? And this is where many homeowners actually make a costly mistake. They focus entirely on the offer amount. Investor A offers 250 grand. Investor B offers 240 grand. Most people instantly choose investor A. And on the surface, that makes perfect sense. But what if investor A wants inspections, financing contingencies, repairs, and a 45-day closing? And what if investor B is buying as is, paying closing costs, closing next week, and allowing you extra time to move if that's what you need? Suddenly, the conversation changes because the highest offer isn't always the best offer. The best offer is the one that solves your problem. And that leads to a deeper issue most homeowners never think about. What outcome are you actually trying to achieve? Because after years of doing this, I've found that most sellers are looking for one of three things: certainty, convenience, or maximum proceeds. The challenge is that you can rarely maximize all three at the same time. Now, if you want every possible dollar, you may need repairs, showings, inspections, negotiations, and time. If you want speed and certainty, you may give up some price. If you want convenience, you may make different trade-offs. There isn't a universally correct answer. There is the only answer that fits your situation. And this is why I think many homeowners evaluate offers incorrectly. They compare numbers. The smartest sellers compare outcomes. Now, let me give you a real-world example. A homeowner reached out with a property that needed major work. The roof was failing. The foundation had issues. There were repair estimates everywhere. And they were convinced nobody would want the property. When we started talking, they thought their biggest problem was the condition of the house. It wasn't. The condition was manageable, honestly. The real problem was uncertainty. They didn't know what their options were. They didn't know whether they should repair it, list it, sell it as is, borrow money, wait, or do something else entirely. And once we started walking through those options, something interesting happened. The stress level dropped. Not because the house changed, not because the roof magically fixed itself, not because the foundation disappeared. The stress dropped because uncertainty dropped. And that's something I wish more homeowners understood. The best investors don't simply make offers. The best investors help homeowners understand their choices. Because sometimes the right answer is not a direct sale. Sometimes it's listing with an agent. Sometimes it's making repairs first. Sometimes it's waiting. And here's the transparency piece that doesn't really benefit me to tell you. If your house is in great condition, you're not in a rush, you're comfortable with showings, and your goal is maximizing value, listing on the open market may absolutely be the better choice. Not every house should be sold to an investor. And anyone who tells you otherwise probably isn't looking at your situation objectively. Which brings me to the biggest takeaway from this entire video. Most people think those signs are about buying houses. They're not. At least not really. They're about solving problems. The sign is simply the starting point. The real question is whether the person on the other end understands your situation and can help you evaluate your options. Because once you understand your options, the decisions become much easier. So the next time you see one of those "We Buy Houses" signs at a red light, you'll know something most people don't. The important question isn't how much are they offering? The important question is, what problem am I trying to solve? Because once you have that answer, you'll make a much better decision about who to work with and which path makes the most sense for you. And now I'm curious, when you see those signs, what's your reaction? Do you think they're helpful? Do you think they're a scam? Or have you actually called one before? Let me know in the comments. And if you ever find yourself trying to decide between selling to an investor, listing traditionally, or simply figuring out your options, don't hesitate to ask questions, even if now isn't the right time to sell, because understanding your options costs nothing. Now, making a decision without understanding them can be very expensive. And if you're in the Houston area, check out Hero Home Buyers. Our information is in the description. Give us a call or book a call online, and we'll help you in any way we can. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. It helps other homeowners understand their options. And if you're thinking about selling and contemplating some renovations, I made another video that talks about what not to fix so you don't end up wasting a ton of money. If that's been on your mind, maybe go watch that one next. I'm Fred Pascal with Hero Home Buyers. Thank you for watching. Good day and God bless.